we had Doug Flanigans on earlier. He explained to us the machinations of what could happen tonight. Who would you rather face well, I guess it's more of a there's tentacles to this question.
Yeah.
Would you rather face Tampa or Toronto in the first round? But then you add in the element of you guarantee yourselves home ice advantage for both rounds if you win the division. I don't know. What's the heady play for the Panthers going into game 82?
Well, they don't seem to care, right? I mean, for me, Tampa, because, I can drive there and I like going to Tampa. I'm not going to no Toronto. I don't even know if my passport's still valid. So, but they obviously don't care. It seems like Boston cares, right? Because I
don't know. So do they? Are they not interested in winning tonight?
That doesn't look like it. I mean, I talked to Paul Saturday. I was like, hey, well, we're going to find out who doesn't want to play Tampa, right? And he kind of shrugged his shoulders. It seems like Florida doesn't care. Yeah, whatever. We're going to win the games that are in front of us. They're playing to win tonight. Everybody's in the lineup. And, Boston last night looked like they were asleep the whole time. Tonight, Boston's got Ottawa. And Ottawa right now looks like a junior college team. They are terrible. So if Boston loses to Ottawa tonight, then the fix was in.
Right, that they just were not
there
interested.
Is no chance Ottawa can beat Boston, not even at half speed. So we'll see what happens. I think the Panthers match up better with Tampa Bay. They really do, except for Andrei Vasilevsky, the goalie. That goalie's good. I mean, we all know how good he is. Toronto doesn't have that kind of goaltending, but Toronto's got terrific forwards. I think Florida matches up better with Toronto.
And Hawk used the word PTSD. Is that what it is with Tampa? Because we've watched it for, what was that, 3 years ago, back-to-back years. Tampa's not
the most recent game where Vasilevsky was.
He stopped 75 shots, and we shot the puck 13 times or something. Like, should there be a fear there?
Well, there always is, because they're big brother, right? They're the guys on the corner with the rings on. I mean, they until the Panthers beat them, Tampa Bay's big brother in this scenario. But yeah, this is a different team too. I mean, you've got Paul Maurice has never coached against Tampa Bay in the playoffs. You didn't have Matthew Tkachuk the last time. That was just before the trade. There's definitely some trepidation there, because Tampa is a tough team, and they don't care. Tampa's going to come down here and be like, Sunrise, whatever. They're coming here to win both games, and Sunrise, they're not scared of nothing. Toronto, they've kind of got this whole weight of Canada on them. They haven't gotten, last year was the first time they got past the first round in, 15 years. They finally get past the second round, and Florida blows their doors off. So they remember that, and they live with that. So we'll see. I mean, again, that's what Paul Maurice is judging.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. That Boston could be up 4-0 after one, and then it's a moot point tonight. So,
and to that point, we're acting scary right now, George. What about on the other side? Is everybody watching that Boston game saying, damn, we got to play the Panthers? Because they went to the finals last year.
I think a lot of people are. Then a lot of people don't want to play the Panthers. The Panthers' style of play is such that you don't want to play them. They're heavy, and then it's not fake, right? Because Boston a couple of weeks ago said, now it's time for us to get tough. Now's the time? Good for you. All right, yeah, now you get tough. Good. Florida's been playing like this since, last February? Since the All-Star break that was here, Florida's been playing this exact same style. This is a playoff style of hockey. It's hard. It's hard hitting. They're a-holes, right? And they love it. That's what they are. And, teams don't want to play them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about this Panthers team, even though we had this, I was telling George off the air, like at the end of the season, I was getting a little nervous about the Panthers, but it seems like Paul Maurice knew what he was doing, which obviously he does.
Yeah.
Knew what he was doing. He was never concerned. Like you said, tonight, Carter Hagee's playing like they're going to win.
Yeah.
He's not concerned about anything. I guess that speaks to A, the confidence that he has in the team, but B, the actual personnel who's on this team. This has to be, you've covered the Panthers for a long time, this has to be one of the deepest squads, if not the deepest that you've seen.
It's unbelievable how deep this team is. And you talk about past teams. If the coach would have said, hey, you want the night off, there would have been 15 hands in the air saying, yeah, in the years I covered them back in the day. And this time, nobody wanted to take the night off. I mean, he said he offered 6, 7 players, hey, we'll rest you tomorrow if you – nope, I want to play. So
that's like a Kachuk leadership thing.
Yeah,
right? It's like he's the guy.
Yeah, they want to play. I mean, they figure they're not going to play till Saturday or Sunday. They didn't want to take 4 or 5 days off between their last games. But no, this team is absolutely deep. I'm doing a story for this week about the depth of the forwards. You've got, instead of 4 lines, you've got 5. Remember last year against Vegas, you saw the depth of the Panthers really tested. Luosterainen went out. Kachuk got hurt. Bennett was hurting. I mean, all these guys were hurting, and the Panthers didn't have the answer for it. I mean, they didn't have the reserves. And credit to the Panthers and Bill Zito for going out there, not only rebuilding the defense during the offseason, but adding guys like Steven Lawrence and guys during Kyle Oposo was the captain of the Buffalo Sabres, and he doesn't even really play here. You got Ryan Lomberg, everybody's favorite. We love Ryan. Everybody knows what Ryan Lomberg does. He's not playing. He's on the bench. I mean, this team is deep. Most teams have 3 lines. Florida's got 5.
What you bring it up last year? Didn't the guy have a broken ankle, a broken sternum, a punctured lung, and they were all still playing?
They were all still playing. Yeah. I mean, Kachuk got hurt in game 3, got the tying goal in game 3. Plays game 4, but you could tell he was a mess. You could tell he could barely pick up the stick, but almost scores the game-tying goal in game 4, and then can't get out of bed. So they're like, yeah, you're not flying to Vegas. You can't get out of bed. We're not bringing your bed with us, so you get to stay behind.
Who would you give? Last year, Matthew Kachuk was runaway, in my opinion, runaway MVP for the team.
Sure.
Who do you give it to this season?
It's not a runaway.
Regular season.
Yeah, it's not a runaway, but you got to look at Ryan Hart because he's got 55 goals. Kachuk had the slow start, and now we see why. I mean, as much as he was saying I'm 100%, he wasn't. We could tell because he didn't really get going until Christmas. I think you've got to give it to Ryan Hart. I mean, just because he's been terrific. He's been great on the power play. He's on the penalty kill. He's not just a guy that camps out and waits for pucks right in front of the net. No, he's doing everything else. I mean, he's playing a Barkov style game. He's not the passer Barkov is. But yeah, Reinhardt's been absolutely terrific. And maybe number 2 is Stolarz because he's bailed you out of some situations as the backup.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Is this Sergei Bobrovsky's best season with the Panthers?
Yes.
And this is, would you say, the best goalie tandem that they've had since Bobrovsky has been here?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. Since Bobrovsky, I was just trying to think in history. Florida's always, I mean, this organization really doesn't have a whole lot of traditions other than the Rats and, that kind of thing. But good goaltending has always been something Florida's had. You had Van Beesbrook, you had other guys, then you had Luongo, obviously, and then Vokoun, nobody talks about, they had good goal. Anyway. But they've never really had that 1-2 tandem, and they've got it now because you could put Stolarz in there. You could say Stolarz is the starter game 1, and I don't think anybody bat an eye other than, what's going on with Bob. But other than that, you wouldn't question that Stolarz deserves it. He leads the league in goals against and save percentage. He's your backup. He's got elite numbers.
And so what about this the atmosphere here? Because this year, especially coming off the Stanley Cup final, this year, and I know you talking about going to Tampa, driving up to Tampa, watching that, the Big Six is what they call it, Boston and all that. Is the energy in here now after coming off last season, is it right up there with those top teams that are historic powerhouses, I would say?
It is. I mean, the energy here is different, though, because it is more laid back. I mean, when you go to those cities, as soon as you land get off the airplane, you hear people talking about the hockey. You getting into a cab. What are you here for? The hockey? Yeah, the hockey. You're not getting that here. You're just not. But the energy level here is like nothing I've ever seen here. You saw it last year in the playoffs when the Boston fans kind of disappeared. What was it, game 6? The Boston fans didn't bother buying tickets for game 6. That was all Panther fans. There was no, the game with the Carolina series, I guess it was game 3 was when it was all Panther fans. And Paul Maurice talked about that. when it was all Panther fans, this place was nuts. And now they got the new sound system and all that stuff. No, this is a great arena to watch a game and great energy. And the players do feed off it. They do enjoy it. And you haven't had that South Florida opposing vibe thing where it's all, Met fans, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. All the Ranger fans showing up. I mean, there are some that's never going away down here, but it's certainly 70-30, 75-25 when it used to be the other way around.
Yeah, they do a good game presentation. If you haven't been to a Panthers game in a while, there is great energy in this building. Tonight, it's game 82. You can read George Richards' coverage at FloridaHockeyNow.com. He's a longtime listener of the show. Now, if you went up to Tampa, if they end up playing the Lightning, would you hit Portillo's as a go-to stop?
I would hit Portillo's, and my hotel is right. It was going to be right. I had to book Tampa hotels today. I didn't even think about it. I was like, man, I got to book hotels in Tampa. Portillo's is right by my hotel in Brandon. I will be going there. I will be having a hot dog, maybe an Italian beef.
Now, how do you feel about? I think George was vocal on this when we were talking about it. Ketchup on the cheesesteak.
I can see it.
All right.
I can see a ketchup on. Yeah. I mean, because why not?
That's why I appreciate George. He understands the important things.
Yeah, I mean, because listen, I mean, the cheesesteak steak, it ain't prime rib.
No, this is a lesser.
It is a lesser cut of meat.
Yeah.
And even in Philly, you really don't, because they put so much of that cheese whiz on it, and the bread's soft. But down here, I mean, you're getting a roll from, the bakery roll ain't going to help you. So I don't know. You could put like a chicken. Let's talk Flanigans. You get a chicken Philly, you put barbecue sauce on it.
So I learned at Flanigans the other night. I was sitting at the bar, and I learned from the bartender that you pretty much put their barbecue sauce on anything.
That's true.
Because I had ordered potato skins at the bar, and she said, "Do you know that you should put the barbecue sauce on the skins?" And I said I wasn't aware of that.
Yep.
Now, I love Flanigan's barbecue sauce. It goes good on anything.
You can buy it.
And I always say the best delivery system for barbecue sauce or ketchup is the little plastic squirter, which is what Flanigan's uses. But I had it on the potato skins, and it was excellent. I admittedly have never had the chicken Philly at Flanigan's.
The chicken Philly's good. But
George walked in with the Flanigan's green cup, Solana, so he went there. Obviously, I'm guessing he went.
No, this is my arena cup.
Oh, all right, that's his arena cup.
They give me one of these little cups, and I get it.
George, you bring your cup from home?
He's a veteran. He's a veteran
here.
Media guy.
This cup's like 4 years old, 5 years old.
He's going to use one of these little plastic Dixie cups.
I rinse it out. We're good to go.
I would feel funny walking into the arena with a cup. I feel funny.
No, I've got one downstairs in the workroom, and I got one upstairs in the press box.
Solana, you've got an issue with the Italian beef sandwich at Portillo's, right? You're not a fan.
I do, but after I'm watching George Richards carry around his own green Flanigan's cup, and he gave credit to the chicken Philly, which is the best Philly in the world, in my opinion, George.
It's pretty good.
I will not discuss anything or debate anything that George Richards has to say ever again moving forward.
But you really shouldn't call it a chicken, because that would not fly in Philly. It's got like Swiss cheese on it.
Right. Philly, I was going to ask you how it's prepared, because
it's grilled chicken chopped up with white cheese on top, and then you got to squirt the barbecue sauce like into the bread.
Right.
It's nothing to do with Philly. All these places we got, you got to have the cheese whiz.
Oh.
Well, that's what these guys don't understand. Like, it's not disgusting. It's delicious. Kraft singles are delicious.
Wawa makes it with the cheese whiz.
You gave me hell when I went American at what was that? Jim's.
Because it was ridiculous. He stopped at the airport. I think there's a Jim's or a Geno's in the airport.
Yeah.
And he got a cheesesteak in Philly, and then asked for American cheese, which
work.
I mean, you might as well let them punch you in the face. I mean, that's crazy.
American cheese has about as much cheese as Cheese Whiz, so
there's no cheese in Cheese Whiz.
Then there's no cheese in American cheese.
American cheese has no flavor. Cheese Whiz is replete with flavor.
Yeah, but American cheese melts good. You get a cheeseburger.
Cheese Whiz is already melted. Already melted.
Never
the coldest day in the world. Cheese Whiz is already melted. So makes it so wonderful. Well, I mean, you'll never get another reason to read FloridaHockeyNow.com better than a guy who carries around his own Flanigan's cup.
Only at the arena. I got him at the arena.
Swears by the Flanigan's Chicken Philly, which is Solana bought his tickets for the Marlins. You know, there's a Flanigan's Day at the Lone Depot Park, where you bought the ticket that gets you that Flanny's Marlins jersey, right, Solana?
Yeah, George, I'm a Flanny's lifer. There's no doubt about it. I could get tickets whenever I want to the Marlins, but
Sure.
hey, I'm gonna get a jersey, a Flanigan, a Flanigans.
Oh, that was such a humble brag. I can get Marlins tickets. Yeah, good.
Sitting outside the stadium on a garbage can.
Yeah. You got $5, I'm in. Love the Marlins, by the way.
Funny. So do we.
Go fish.
George Richards, read his work, FloridaHockeyNow.com. Thank you, George.
All right. Thanks, Solana. See you,
Get
buddy.
a W tonight.